Okay, welcome everybody. TOC is 7 weeks away. Well, I'm gonna get this a bit closer. Yeah, really. I'm not kidding. Which means you don't have that much time to prepare in the grand scheme of things. And let me show you what level. I guess it's here. Let me show you what level you're up against. This is the damn Tournament of Champions. It's not the regional round. It's not the global round. It's the Tournament of Champions. Note the word champions. You're with the best scholars of the entire world, which means that if you want to become one of the best and possibly win TOC and do extremely well, you have to do very, very well and practice a lot to make it to that champion level. So first of all, I congratulate you for making it this far. Okay, first I'm going to be going over a few challenge and bull practice strategies for the next few weeks. First of all is to fully study one subject per week. Don't be like poor Bill, who spent the entire night studying and then he slept through his exam and got a 0. Or just don't do that. And so what I suggest you do, pick one study per week. I'm going to tell you a few of my suggestions. Can you not film this already? There's already a camera right there. Good. Now you just made me have to do work and actually get on my computer and edit this later, okay? So what I mean by fully study one subject, okay, when I say studying, I don't mean just passively reading the notes, right? Just going over the stuff, saying you're studying by reading the details. Okay, that's not studying. That's called wasting your time, okay? What I mean by studying is relearning your previous notes, going through the entire curriculum, picking out details on exactly the topics, on the names, on everything to do with the details by relearning it over and over again. I don't mean just simply reading the curriculum, because that's straight up a waste of your time. Another strategy you can do is to engage with the curriculum. There's many ways you can do this. I got a few suggestions from friends. It really depends on your best way of learning. I got a few suggestions on using the memory palace technique, which is something I use. Engaging the curriculum with multiple of your senses to make it more memorable. And then another point is to constantly review the curriculum after you've actually learned it. This means going through it through Quizlets, which I will talk about later. And yeah, just a few points. And please don't be poor Bill and pull an all-nighter the day before, because sleep is extremely important. And I don't want to be like your old teacher telling you to sleep, but you have to sleep the day before. Okay, this is my order of subjects that I would strongly recommend you study, starting with history, because history is the most annoying subject this year. I've gotten so many people asking for help on how to do history, and my help right now is to research the entire curriculum, write it out on paper or whatever way works for you, and then keep on fleshing out the details by researching on Wikipedia and many other resource sites online. Okay, so what I mean by that is each week, go through one of them, dive as deeply as you can in that week, go all out. I'd suggest probably an hour and a half per day of review if you really want to make it to that top spot. Or if you were like me in the global round a few years ago, study 3 hours a day right before the TOC. Okay, and what do you do on week 7, which is the week right before? This week, you have to review everything. You have to go back, go through how you learn, relearn the things you don't know, and just that constant relearning is what makes the information stick in your mind. So keep that in mind when going through these specific subjects to study. I always found that special area is the best because I find it the most interesting, so it sticks to me easier. That way I don't need that much time to process and think of exactly the mysteries and everything around that. However, that might be different for you. I would strongly recommend you follow this subject. Something else interesting to note is the literature section. That requires a lot of knowledge on the poems and short works. So I'd strongly recommend you keep rereading the literature section, maybe before you go to bed or just in the car or whatever. Okay, so here's a few study disciplines. Again, don't be like Drake. He studies 30 hours straight one day before the exam, because that sucks and you don't actually remember anything. So how you study efficiently, these are a few disciplines. Number 1, find what I call no extra time, which is time where you're basically not doing anything. You're kind of wasted. This time includes waiting on the bus, where many people just check dank memes. Instead of checking dank memes, you can be grinding through your Quizlet, as well as just waiting. That wasn't supposed to be an inappropriate reference, okay? As well as many other times when you're waiting for the doctor's office, just go through the Quizlets. And You can also download some of my videos, go through the podcast, which is about to come out soon. And you can just read the literature and art, which is what I just talked about, maybe before you go to bed or while on the bus. Just get those poems stuck into your brain. And again, just like I said, study 1.5 hours per day on the curriculum for maximum results. Because let's be honest, we don't have 1.5 hours to study. So the real question becomes, how on earth do I pull this time to study? And my answer is no extra time. Just find points during your day where you're kind of doing nothing and fill it in with studying time. Okay, so a few things to note when it comes to Quizlet review. First of all, as you can see in this lovely graph that I created, that I found and then I kind of edited. So this line is your memory, what you remember. As you can hopefully see from this graph, if you study once and then don't study again for a few days, you remember nothing, very little. However, if you keep studying the same material, maybe once a day, the memory becomes permanent and you remember it for long term. So this is what I strongly recommend you do with your learning. First day, memorize. Let's say I memorized 500 terms, or that's a lot. 50 terms for history, right? I memorize it, okay? On day 2, relearn those terms again. And then on day 3, keep relearning it and it'll become ingrained in your long-term memory. Big tip. And this is especially applicable with Quizlet, where you keep relearning it every single day. It'll stick with you longer, especially for TOC. Okay, writing and debate. Here's another terrible meme. Okay, writing. Okay, this is the minimum. At least write once per week for TOC. Use new prompts. Remember the WC prompts are no more. They're not persuasive anymore. They're the creative type that you can branch off and explain your ideas in really any way you want. And I feel like that's a good thing for some people, but for others, breaking away from that standard essay structure can be very challenging. So please use those new prompts and practice with those. Another thing, another very important thing is to focus primarily on your clarity when it comes to writing, right? I was on an interview with Maxine approximately 2 months ago now. The biggest tip I got from that was to focus on clarity when it comes to writing. Another thing you could do is to review with your teammates. Give them your paper, get them used to writing it, because as we all know, writing is collaborative, right? So there's a section at the end of the Writing for the World Scholars Cup that focuses on your teammates editing your papers. So make sure you're on that, you review with your teammates, you get them used to your style of writing to make that process more efficient at the end, as well as the fact that your teammates can learn a lot from what you'll be writing. And yeah, we'll also be practicing writing here every week. For debate, it's very similar. Practice at least once per week. And I always get this question, but what if I'm not with my teammates? How do I do debate? Okay, the answer to that question is very simple. Simply choose on a prompt with you and your teammates, and then when you're at home, write out your points, set a timer for 15 minutes, and then go prepare your points. You can film it, and then you can redistribute that content to your teammates. And if you like, they can try and rebut that piece of content, and then all of a sudden you have a rebuttal piece that they can send back to you, and then you try to rebut that, and it's a very interesting game that I'd strongly suggest you try playing. Another important point is to focus on clarity, just like I talked about before. Being clear with your speeches, being clear with your main idea is what gives you the most points. And most importantly, make sure to practice with your teammates occasionally, review with your teammates, see what works, see what doesn't, and keep on improving. And finally, you might want to pay attention to this one. Go and study. Okay, listen. Listen. I have no interest in being a motivational speaker. In fact, if someone calls me a motivational speaker, I actually get angry at them, because the truth is, if you motivate an idiot, what do you get? You get a motivated idiot. Now he's gonna go and do more harm to the people and himself around. So I'm not here to motivate you. I don't want you to feel like very excited or very high of what I'm saying. The truth is, you have to go out and actually do something with what I've said. Hey, I'm in. You guys sitting down and watching me speak doesn't do anything. In fact, if you were to go back to your life and just do nothing with what I've said, you've basically just effectively wasted a few minutes of your time. So go out, study, implement these strategies, and you'll be well on your way to TOC success. Thank you.